That's the dance part, everybody. That's the dance part. hey, come on, everybody. I can't hear you. Come on. Start. All right, y'all. All right. When I say black voters. When I say love, you say power, love. When I say black voters, you say matter, black voters. How y'all doing? Woo-woo! We are so blessed to be here. What we're going to do is we're going to have a press conference. We're going to go on and get started. And we're going to have some of our parties, our honorees, to join us up here. Right? Okay. Our honorees to join us up here. So I am... Okay. Come on. So, Barbara Arnwine, come on up here, sister. Representative from Unite here. One of our partners. Is Marlene here? Okay. Come on, Miss Marlene, we need you. Come on, Big Doug, we up in your house. Big Doug. We're not going to be here long, y'all. In terms of what we wanted to do is we wanted to let people know that literally the fight continues. Amen? The fight continues. And so we're literally, because how many of y'all knew that the destination for the Freedom Ride was a beat to end in New Orleans? How many of y'all knew that? So New Orleans is significant to the meaning and the history of the Freedom Rides. And then we've got Freedom Riders here, right here in Treme, right, that are literally doing the work and continuing in the spirit of what our people need and literally for this fight. And so with that being said, I want to take a couple of moments for us. You're going to hear from a couple of people. We're going to share why we're here, some of our partners that are here, why they're here on the, and what it is that brought us here today to be here with you. And so with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to my brother, Cliff Albright, who's co-founder, executive director of Black Voters Matter, the hardest working man I know in America, right? And then you'll hear from Barbara Arnwine, who is an amazing freedom fighter. You're going to hear from freedom fighters up here right now, why we're here, what we hope to accomplish, and why we think New Orleans was significant.
All right, how's everybody doing? All right. So we launched this Freedom Ride for voting rights for a couple of reasons. We launched it, and we call it the reverse Freedom Ride, right? Because as Latasha said, we're going in reverse. Back then in '61, they went from D.C., came down to the South. When we started in the South, and we taking it up north, and we're taking it to D.C. for a reason, because we are going there to demand our voting rights. Let me hear somebody say voting rights. Let me hear somebody say voting rights. Let me hear somebody say for the people. Say for the people. So there's two pieces of federal legislation pending right now, H.R. 1, the For the People Act, H.R. 4, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, and there's a third one that's important to this issue, and it's H.R. 51, because D.C. is trying to become and needs to become the 51st state, and so we are including in this demand for voting rights D.C. statehood, because at the end of the day, not denying an entire city the right to vote. A city that's 90% black is perhaps the oldest form of voter suppression that we've seen in this country. So all three of those pieces of legislation we are talking about, raising awareness about, and advocating for throughout 10 cities, 9 days, and it all starts where? Right here in New Orleans, right here in Treme. So thank y'all. And the other reason that we're doing this Freedom Ride for voting rights is because we are trying to lift up, we are trying to amplify the history of those 1961 Freedom Rides. There's so much of that history, so many of these stories that nobody in this country really knows about. At best, we know a couple of names associated. People know that John Lewis was in the Freedom Rides, may he rest in peace or rest in power. But there are so many foot soldiers whose stories have not really been told. So part of what we wanted to do in this Freedom Ride is to be able to go from city to city, amplifying that history, commemorating and rewarding and acknowledging those foot soldiers, right? That's what we're going to be doing in every state that we go to, in every state, because in every state there's a Freedom Rider. In every state there's somebody that participated in that movement one way or another, and we're finding them and we're lifting them up. So those are the two reasons why we wanted to do this Freedom Ride. And y'all, it starts here, but let me tell you real quick, and then we're going to pass it on just so that y'all know where we're going. We started it here, but then we're going to Jackson, Mississippi, and y'all know Jackson is the place, Mississippi's the place where so many of those Freedom Riders got arrested, right? So many of those Freedom Riders got arrested and sent to Parchment, which to this day is still one of the worst prisons in the entire country. So we're going to Jackson. Then we're going to Birmingham. Y'all know all the images of what happened in the Freedom Rides in Birmingham and Anniston, right? So we're taking it to Birmingham, where we'll be doing that event at historic Kelly Ingram Park, right? And then from there, we're going to be going on to Nashville. And you can't talk about the Freedom Rides and not talk about Nashville. And then we'll go from there and take it to Atlanta. And then to Columbia, South Carolina, and then to Raleigh, North Carolina. And then we're going to West Virginia. Y'all know why we're going to West Virginia, right? Because there's somebody there who needs to know we got something to say. There's somebody in West Virginia who needs to know the South got something to say. So we're taking it right to West Virginia, and we got some friends and partners and a whole coalition in that state, because don't let them fool y'all. Don't let them get it twisted. There's some black folks in West Virginia that want some voting rights. There's some union folks in West Virginia that want some voting rights. There's some young folks. There's some white allies. There's a whole bunch of folks in West Virginia. 79% of the folks in West Virginia support the For the People Act. So we're going there because there's one person in particular that needs to hear that we got something to say. And then after that, we're going to Virginia, and then we're going to D.C. So what we're asking and what we're saying is that everybody can be a Freedom Rider. Everybody is a Freedom Rider. Even if you're not getting on the bus, you're still a Freedom Rider because you're on this bus, on this journey that we are taking towards voting rights and liberation. So if you want to ride that bus, even if you can't ride the physical bus, if you want to ride the bus of freedom fighting with us, you got a role to play. You can text us, text Freedom Ride to 797979 so that you can get involved, so that you can get messages, you can get calls to action, because everybody's an organizer. And everybody's a Freedom Rider, and everybody's got a role to play. So I'm going to turn it over to Barbara. I'm going to turn it over to one of our partners. Now, y'all, some of y'all may know that on May 8th, there was a John Lewis National Day of Action, and this sister coming up was one of the leading and one of the lead organizers for that. But that ain't all she's done. She's got a whole long history of being in this fight. So it's my pleasure and my honor, my dear friend, my sister, Barbara Arnwine, Transformative Justice Coalition. Barbara.
Hey, New Orleans! Hey, good morning, New Orleans! Good afternoon. We're here to do it today. You see, people say, why are you riding? And we say we ride for justice. We ride for voter justice. You see, this hat I'm wearing, and people who know me know I don't wear hats a lot, but you see it says, what good trouble? John Lewis. That's why we're here, because Congressman John Lewis gave 50 years of his life to this struggle. 50 years ago, 57 years ago, on the Pettus Bridge, people had said they'll never get a Voting Rights Act. People said folks will continue to beat and stomp and deprive black folks of their rights. But John Lewis and 600 people changed history. And we're here because we can change history. We are the history makers. We are the change makers. It's our moment, folks. And in this moment, just like he fought for national voting rights legislation, we need it now. What's going on in this country? Before I say that, I gotta introduce my co-leader, Transformative Justice, Daryl Jones, because Daryl Jones, stand up now. You know you got to stand up, my brother. There we go. This button, he designed all the strategy that we use. But I want people to know that right now, because 2020, what happened in 2020? People showed up and showed out. They voted. They voted. And as a result, it set people in deep fear because they saw our power. 17 million more of us voted in 2020 than voted in 2016. Scared. Instead of that wonderful, they said, oh, no, never again. So they've been passing voter suppression legislation. They have, to this date, get ready for this number. At this moment, there are 400 bad voter suppression bills pending. But we got an answer for that. We got an answer for that. The answer is called the S1 For the People Act. For the People Act. Because what it would do, they would take that vampire of voter suppression and put a stake through his heart. Because what it would do is it would stop all of this nonsense by mandating federal requirements for federal elections. Meaning that doesn't matter if you lived in Maine, Louisiana, California, you would have the same voting rights. Same rights to early voting. 2 weeks, including what days? Attacking souls to the polls Sundays. What else would it do? It would restore to the voting rolls 6 million people who have been denied that right. They have been formerly incarcerated. And we got this craziness. You can vote straight up when you get out of prison, and other places where you gotta wait 7 years, or in Florida, you gotta wait forever or never, in Arizona and other states. So it's important for us to pass this. It also requires election day registration. It requires automatic voter registration. You know, when my son was 18, my son got in the mail 3 months of his turning 18 years of age. His notice of what his military draft number would be if it were ever called. What didn't he get in the mail? A voter card. What didn't he get in the mail? An assertion of his voting rights that he was automatically registered. We're going to change that around. What else are we going to do in this legislation? We're going to do so many other great things. Voter ID, right next door, right? In Alabama, not only did they require this strict, ugly voter ID, not only in Texas did they require this strict, ugly voter ID, but they had the nerve in Alabama to close the Department of Motor Vehicles in black communities. Oh, honey, let's talk about it. It also has restrictions on reducing voting locations. We know that what they've been doing is that since 2012, there are 2,000 less places to vote in the southern states. 2,000 less places to vote, even though the population has skyrocketed. So these are the dangers that we live with. That's why we gotta have the beauty of the For the People Act. Now, some people are confused out here. They're wickedly confused because they're telling you we only need one. There's only one Voting Rights Act we need. And they're saying either that they only want the For the People Act, or they're saying they want the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. I say you need both. You gotta have both, people. They're radically different. uniform standards. Well, the beauty of the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act is that it catches all the wicked, evil, criminally minded, because you got to be criminally minded to want to steal people's votes. You got to be criminally minded wanting to block people from voting. You got to be criminally minded wanting to murder and destroy the vote. That's a criminal, I'm sorry. And these criminally minded legislatures out here will come up with stuff that nobody can think of. I mean, who would imagine, Latasha, that because mighty black voters matter, because Transformative Justice Coalition helped people when they were standing in line for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, that we would help them with food and water, that they would come out with their little criminal minds and say that that's going to be unlawful and they're going to put us in jail if we do it again. That's criminal. That's evil. But the beauty, and vicious, but the beauty of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act is that it allows law like that. Any change, any election change or practice or procedural change is adjusted for those states that have a history of racial discrimination in voting. It's subjected to pre-clearance, meaning they got to show affirmatively that it's not racially motivated, affirmatively that it won't have a racially adverse impact. And guess what, everybody? If that were the law right now, we'd be laughing at Georgia. We'd be laughing at Texas. We would be laughing at Florida, because no way any of the laws that they passed could be sustained. Every one of those would never have gone into effect if we had the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. So we need it. So what we need to do right now is just like the mighty 600 stood up on that Pettus Bridge, we got to stand up right now all over the country. We got to stand up. We got to say, free to vote, 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 free to vote.
Well, now she done dropped the mic. The mic's so hot I can't even hold it, y'all. I can't even hold it. All right, Barbara Arnwine, that's a freedom fight on the front lines. And so listen, I don't know if y'all seeing how they pouring in here like an army, but Unite here is in the house, y'all. We are the union, the mighty, mighty union. All right, the union, the workers are here, y'all. We make this country. We build this country. We make this country move, amen? So in that spirit, I want our partner, one of our key partners and hosts of the Freedom Rides is Unite Here. And literally, y'all, they drove from Texas. Y'all know Texas ain't just, yeah, it's a little bit closer than it is to us in Atlanta, but you gotta be ready to be on the road when they come rolling with us. Texas ain't no little state, right? Amen. But I want to introduce you all to the president of Unite Here, Local 23. Marlene Patrick Cook, give us some love.
Chef. My name is Marlene Patrick Cooper. I'm the president of Unite Here Local 23. We represent workers in 13 states, predominantly in the South, predominantly black, predominantly women. And our goal and our mission has always been to build the working class power up. In this room today, we've got leaders from New York, from Orlando, from Atlantic City, who will be getting on that bus because it is our goal, it is our mission to be a freedom rider. The baton, our brother here is going to speak about, he started this years ago, and it's up to us. It's up to us to continue and to not go back. So we are looking forward to making a goal, to making a mission, and making sure that the harvester talked about that we did in the presidential and in the Senate, that it does not go to naught. So yes, let's do this. And one thing we say, we as black people, we are not new to this. We are true to this. Say this after me. We are not new to this. We are true to this. We are not new to this. We are true to this. And it is our mission, and we're going to do it, and we're going to get on that bus, and we're going to make a difference because we know our vote will matter. Thank you.
All right, I just want to call out, these are some of our key partners, but I want to take a moment just for, and for you all in here to know about, we're going to, we've got probably about 30 stops, y'all, right? As we're going in the next 7 days and 8 days. And so what I want to do is, it takes a lot of folks to pull this together, y'all, but our roots, you know, a tree, the branches can break off, right? But if you got some deep roots, that tree ain't going nowhere. It might lean a little bit this way, might lean a little bit that way, going nowhere. And so in that spirit, I just want to say some of the folks who are literally planting the roots to this. We got the Advancement Project, we've got Asian Americans Advancing Justice, Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, Black Church PAC, Black Women's Roundtable, Community of Hope AME Church, Congressional Center, D.C. Declaration of American Democracy, Ebenezer Baptist Church, Citizens United, Let America Vote, Make Plain, Metropolitan AME Church, Movement for Black Lives and Legal Justice Project, NAACP Legal Defense Fund, National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, Network Advocates for Catholic Social Justice, New Jersey Institute for Social Justice, Nuns on the Bus, People for the American Way, Rainbow Push Coalition, SCLC, SPLC Action Fund, Stand Up America, the Daniel Initiative, and I ain't through, the Working Families Party, Transformative Justice Coalition, Unite Here, Unite Until Freedom, the Women's March, Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, SEIU, National Organization of Women, the Frontline, Higher Heights for America, Neighbors United for DC Statehood, Center for Disability Rights, Vote.org, the Worker Circle, National Coalition on Negro Women. And y'all think they gonna beat us? That's who we rolling with. That's our crew, right? Fundamentally, when we work together, y'all, we win. And that's why we want to lift up. It takes all of us literally being able to go and stand in the space of our spirit and our power, and we're going to do this. We're getting ready to transition to the program because we have a program. We want you all, the whole purpose of us being here today is, come on, my brother Cliff. The whole purpose of us being here today is that we wanted to literally give homage, y'all, that in this space and this spirit, we know we're on sacred ground, right? That we know that our people, right in this ground, right here, right, were enslaved Africans, and literally, what they have done is like their spirit still lives in us, y'all. Ancestor spirit still lives in us, right? Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom's land. Amen. Amen. So in that, my brother Cliff is going to help us transition into the program. Give us a couple of minutes. I don't know if there's something else we need to say. If the press, if there's any questions, because I know if there are any questions that the press have for us, we would love to be able to take the opportunity and answer those. Come on, y'all come on with us. And part of what we also have is we have the Freedom Riders with us that y'all are going to hear, who are original Freedom Riders. Ain't we blessed that we up in a space that the original Freedom Riders, I don't know about y'all, but I'm so honored. I'm so honored and humbled and feel grateful to God that I would have the opportunity to walk this earth with those folks that created. We ride on them big, pretty black buses out there because of the work that y'all did, right? We going in the interstate flexing because of the work that y'all did. So I'm saying thank you. I want you to know that we honor you, and the generations behind you, we honor you because we are moving from state to state because of the work that y'all did. Back to give you all honor. And so in that spirit,
any questions from the media? Any members of the media who have a question? You raising your hand or no? Okay. All right. Then we will transition. All right, thank y'all, thank y'all.
All right, so we're gonna transition. We're gonna get the Here she is. Okay. Hey. Hey, everybody. Hey. Let me tell y'all, the work in Louisiana, we're doing this work, but listen, there's some young women and men who are throwing down. And so I'm going to bring up, she's going to take it from here, right? But our state coordinator of the state, the wonderful state of Louisiana, is right here. Amari, y'all give a warm welcome for Amari.
What's up, everybody? Good afternoon again. My name is Omari Hossein, and I am the Louisiana coordinator for the Black Voters Matter Fund, and I am so honored to be here today, not only to celebrate what has come before us, but to lift up and send off what is to come. Not only are we riding, we are building. We are building a movement that will not just allow us space and freedom, but will allow our children the space to just be, the ability to not just survive, but to thrive, because we deserve it. And though people may not act like it, though the legislators may not act like it, though people in power may not act like it, we have power. And Louisiana is a force to be reckoned with. So I just came here today, really I was just supposed to make a few announcements. To remember to please, please keep on your mask. And also, for those who have been traveling from Texas and from many spots abroad, we have food trucks outside with free food for everyone. So please, please partake in that. And lastly, it is my honor to introduce our Master of Ceremonies, Judge Lombard, who will take us through the ceremony. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here.
Hello everyone. Now for the part of the program that you all, New Orleans played a very significant role in the civil rights movement. You were supposed to go up to New Zion Baptist Church this morning, but there were some problems. But New Zion Baptist Church is the church where Martin Luther King sat down and started the Southern Christian Leadership Council. And it was also the site of many of them for the freedom. And so today we come to honor those people. And if you read paper today, they use the term civil rights leader, civil rights worker loosely. Anytime you read paper, they'll say so-and-so died, he was a civil rights worker. My definition of a civil rights worker is one who put his life or her life on the line. Those people on the Freedom Riders and those people in CORE and SNCC and those organizations put their life on the line every time they left out the door. So, all way today we are gathered to tell them thank you. We may be some 60 years late, but thank you anyway. And now, before I bring Ms. Bernard up, who's going to introduce some people and make some presentations. But lest we forget, we are blessed to have some of those survivors around today, and I'll tell you more about that later. Ms. Bernard, unless you...
And I'm going to say a few words and then I'm going to call up a couple people and hopefully they're here. So I am Shawan Bernard and I am one of the proud partners to be in working with the Black Voters Matters. I represent the Lower Ninth Ward Voters Coalition, and that coalition works with several organizations who are here on the ground supporting us. We are working with the NAACP. We have also partnered with the Urban League, and we work with a group called ENVY, Engaging New Voices and Voters. Part of the work that we do is based upon voting and working with high schoolers because of the work that the freedom fighters have done. I also served as a member of the planning committee for this particular activity. And in recognizing the work that was done, or has been done. And not, earlier, Ms. Brown asked if you knew whether or not that the last stop on the tour, the original Freedom Ride tour, was to end up in New Orleans. So I had an opportunity that I wanted to make sure I understood what this celebration was about. So I watched some of the videos that you all have made that are on and available, and I encourage the rest of you to watch what's available on YouTube about the movement. And I wanted to make sure that, number one, we acknowledge your participation. And when we talk about your participation, we're talking about the participation of the core members and the sacrifice that you made for not only this community, but also for this nation. I wanted to make sure that we acknowledge who they were, that we recognize who they were, and that we honor. So I reached out to a few people and a few. I wanted to let you all know, and I heard Mr. Smith speak earlier, your hand, but I wanted to just make sure that we as a community let you know that we love what you did, we respect what you all have done, and we're here to show honor in just a little way. So at this time, I'm going to ask that the city representative, Ms. Donna Glapion, come up and share with you a proclamation that we got the city to issue. And if I could have the honorees, and when I say honorees, present with us today is Mr. Reese, Miss Dottie Smith-Simmons, and also Big Duck. And I can't call anybody. Because of the way I was raised, it's always Mr. and Miss. So Mr. Reese, Mr. Smith, and Miss Smith, if you would come up, we have a few recognitions that we would like to present to you.
Making the presentation is our Councilman at Large, Ms. Glapion.
John Lewis and I were sitting in a meeting, and there was one young named Julia Harris, come from the St. Bernard Project, and she was so dynamic, she brought tears to Dr. King's eye. And he stated that Julia made him know that this movement was going to be a success, and she was 18 years old. Wow, man. Much of them a ride in itself is not a TV commercial. Sometimes I'm pausing because I've been in situations where our lives were seriously online. If you get a chance, pause and spread some goodness on those images across the board. You know, I know I'm breaking out of the every picture you see, Richard Haley, he and I was in jail in Mississippi. So it's not just an image when I try to speak about it. It's difficult. And the smallest we don't have all the pictures, but there's the three sisters, Shirley Allison, the Smith sisters. Know them. I met everybody. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, been in the White House, didn't surrender. Any name you could possibly call, they can call on us. And then my brother, Rudy Lombard. Rudy Lombard and I have been in places, just the two of us. We've gone into the back streets of Mississippi and stuff. Please look at those photos. Please try to read a bread of thanks. This is a tremendous transition time. And all of them, especially the girls, I know myself, but especially the girls who were going into Portsmouth Penitentiary and whatever, they're tougher than me. They're tougher than me. I really hate to interrupt, but it's so special, so endearing. I'm kind of ways, and in some humble ways, on some moments when I'm on this floor, we may have 400 or so kids. I try to ask them to surrender. And the sister that took the microphone voice, I met her down in Southern. And they were so impressed with the strength that we look at a picture on the wall where the kids from the wall is outside went down to Selma. And they were demonstrating going to jail together. Listen, let me sit down, but I just had to mention it. I just had to mention that.
Don't go too far, Big Doug. Good morning, everybody. My name is Donna Glapion. I have the privilege of serving the great city of New Orleans on the city council member at large on an interim basis for just 1 year. So I feel fortunate that I'm here to be able to share this moment with you. I want to say on behalf of the city, thank you, Black Voters Matter, for putting on this freedom ride for voting rights. We appreciate that you chose to come here, be here with us, and kick off and go out into the world from this sacred ground. I walked up into the building this morning, headed straight to Mr. Jerome Smith, who we respectfully and reverently call Big Duck, myself, to say I was here because he had summoned me here. He didn't ask. He told my people, tell Ms. Glapion to be here. So I go to introduce myself, and Mr. Smith says, hey, Donna. So I don't know the last time I have been in Big Duck's presence, but he called my name. So I just need you all to know what a treasure, an absolute treasure we have in Mr. Jerome Smith, that he's still here. He has such a wealth of history and knowledge, and is a beautiful soul, sharper than me. And I'm not gonna say how much of his age I am, but I'll just say he called my name and I feel blessed. So you all, if you have a moment to just sit and talk with them while you're here, you will be blessed as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do my duty. I just want you to be in his presence and to say hello, and hopefully he'll call your name and you'll be as blessed as I've been this morning. So we have some proclamations from the city of New Orleans, and they read, whereas the city of New Orleans is renowned for its food, festivals, famous citizens, and foreign visitors, and whereas the city council takes great pride in paying tribute to events and activities, now therefore be it proclaimed by the city of New Orleans that the city council recognizes. This morning we recognize, in recognition of the 60th anniversary of the Freedom Rides, we salute the New Orleans chapter of the Congress of Racial Equality Corps for their bravery, valor, and leadership in the fight against segregation in public transportation, lunch counters, restroom accommodations, and other civil rights causes. In the name of and by the authority vested in the Council of the City of New Orleans, signed by each 7 members of that body, including me. So we have for presentation this morning, Ms. Doretha Dottie Smith Simmons. Come tell me how to say it, ma'am. I'll say it how
It's Dorotha B. Smith Simmons.
and that's what it says. Yes, ma'am. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Claude Reese. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Last but not least, of the three that are here with us today, Jerome Big Ducks. And we also have one for the Congress of Racial Equality that we're going to present to Mr. Smith as well. That's
Thank you, Councilman Glapion. Council Lady, I'm sorry.
All right, but we're not finished. We also have, today Troy Carter would have been here except that he had already planned to do his swearing in over at his high school at Carr. But he sent some awards that he has asked that I present to you all. Y'all come back up. I'm gonna let you know when you can sit down. Honor you. We're gonna, everybody who I think we need to do something, they were more than receptive to put something on paper to let you know what you all have done. So this is from Congressman Troy Carter, and he sends his apology again for not being able to be here. From the United States Representative of District 2 of Louisiana, he recognizes, acknowledges, and honors the 60th commemorative celebration of the Freedom Riders. This is presented to Mr. Clark Reese, Congress of Racial Equality Corps, New Orleans chapter on this 18th day of June, 2021. And this is again from our current Congressman, Troy Carter. I have one for Ms. Smith and also for Mr. Smith. Don't go, we're not finished. Also had a conversation, and this particular person, he was on vacation, so went in on last Monday, and they prepared a certificate present to you also. This comes to you from the Louisiana Senate by the office of Joseph Bowie. So the state of Louisiana, Louisiana Senate, Senator Joseph Bowie Jr. hereby extends heartiest congratulations and commencements for the auspicious occasion, 60th commemorative celebration of recognizing the history-making Freedom Riders, Congress of Racial Equality Corps, New Orleans chapter. And again, this is from the Louisiana branch of government. And again, his acknowledgement that he cannot be here, but I have a couple more. So the work that you all did and the groundwork that you laid out allowed some other organizations, you all were working in collaboration with them. And as I spoke with each of you all earlier, I told you that I represent a few roles. I also work with the NAACP. And I don't know if Mr. Coleman has his way here, but if not, so that we continue. And some of you worked with NAACP, were members of the youth council, so on behalf of for the advancement of colored people, New Orleans, we appreciate, recognize, and honor Congress of Racial Equality Corps, New Orleans, for your courage, bravery, valor, and commitment to fighting against segregating the principles of nonviolence. So I ask that you accept this from the NAACP, and I have one more for you. At this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Judy Reese Morse to come up, and Urban League has a presentation that they would like to make.
Thank you so much, Juan. Good afternoon, everyone.
It is quite an honor for me to stand before you today. Thank you for the opportunity. Black Voters Matter. I am sure that this audience has done this already, but I'm going to ask you to do it again. Please give them a big round of leadership and for their work. We at the Urban League of Louisiana are so grateful to be able to partner with them on what needs to happen here in Louisiana, and we do it through an initiative that we have launched at the Urban League called Wake Up, Go Vote. Wake up, go vote. Now, you all are smart enough to know the many different ways to read into that phrase, but we have built that out into a statewide campaign that focuses on voter education and voter mobilization. I'm so pleased to tell you that when we launched that effort in the fall of 2018, just ahead of the midterm elections of that year, we thought that we would only be activating during the election cycles. But we have worked really, really hard, and we understand what has to happen in Louisiana, so we are in a position now to be able to do this work all year long. So look for your Urban League of Louisiana to be registering people to vote, to be issues that are critical to Africa across the state of Louisiana, and to be creating those meaningful partnerships like Black Lives and Black Voters Matter here in Louisiana, as well as many, many other organizations. Now, to the matter at hand. It is an honor, such an honor, to be able to look at these individuals and to be able to, yes, someone is representing Black Lives Matter, if you read his hat, to be able to present proclamations on behalf of the Urban League of Louisiana to these heroes. These are national treasures. We know this, and the more that we get the word out to others, then we know that we're doing our job. We must follow their examples, their legacies, their leads, and we must now step into our own and do the work that is called on today. And don't get me started, somebody better take the microphone, because there's a lot of work that needs to happen today and a lot of work for us to do, but I'm gonna do what I was inviting you to do, which is to present these proclamations, so let me get to it. All right, starting off with the national treasure that is Mr. Jerome Big Duck Smith. This is a long, I'm not gonna read it all. Essentially what it says is, we honor you, we celebrate you, we love you, and so grateful to you for all that you do. Thank you. The days that I have spent in this space with this gentleman, hearing his stories, learning about his work, and the inspiration that I have received, I will be forever grateful. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next, Mr. Rotha Dodie Smith Simmons. Well, you know I know how to say your name, ma'am. You have corrected me many, many times. I know how to say your name. I also know how to say I love you. I'm so to you for the example that you set and that you give everyone, but especially women, and especially Black women. I am honored to know you. I'm honored to know you personally, and I'm honored to present you with this proclamation from the Urban League of Louisiana. Thank you, Ms. Dodie. And last, but certainly not least, and I'm going to take a bit of personal privilege here. I hope I can make it through. This gentleman is my father, Mr. Claude Reese. He has been my hero since the first time I saw him and he held me. I remember when he would take me to Shakespeare Park and he would bring me to rallies like this. He would hold me on his shoulders, and I remember once he even gave me the microphone. And because I had been around him, I kind of picked up at a very young age some of the chants, and I said some of the chants, and I can remember people cheering and people saying to him, "How did she know that? How did she know that?" Well, you know that when your father is a freedom rider, a real life, in your home freedom rider. I have wanted nothing more, Daddy, than to make you proud of me. And I hope that I have. And I love you. And everything that you have done in such a humble and unassuming way. But please don't anybody be confused. This is a giant of a man. And he is gracious and kind and loving. And I'm so proud that he's my daddy. So it is. With great and tremendous pride, with shaking hands from the Urban League of Louisiana. Thank you, Daddy, for all that you've done. Thank you, Shawan, appreciate it.
That was just lovely. And again, congratulations. And I thank the Urban League, NAACP, and we're going to turn it back over. One more presentation. Come on up.
Good evening. Good afternoon. I'm Tyrone Walker. I'm proud to serve as the Chief Administrative Officer for District Attorney Jason Williams. I represent the District Attorney because he's out of town, and that's the only reason why he wouldn't be here directly. Before I read his letter that he penned these great pictures of Freedom Riders, New Orleans Freedom Riders, I want to just share very, very quickly. I generally don't follow many people when they steal the mic, but that lady that just left here is one of my biggest mentors, Judy Reese Morris. And what I want to share before I read the attorney's letter to the Freedom Riders is that these treasures, national treasures that we can call our own in New Orleans, they have instilled a lot. They have lifted so many up, like Judy and like the District Attorney, Jason, because of the nurturing of Mr. Smith and Ms. Doty and their sacrifice and their example. And because of the work that they've done to nurture and to build a whole generation of New Orleanians and leaders, me, and others in my generation get to stand on their shoulders and continue this work. So I came today to make sure that District Attorney Jason Williams is represented because a few years ago, Mrs. Smith, I remember when I was working for Judy in the mayor's office, and you were giving me an earful about a whole host of things, and Judy taught me a big lesson, and she said, well, Tyrone, when you go out there, you better remember that whatever Mrs. Smith says, you better take it all in and just come back to me, and we're going to work out and see how we can get it done. I'm proud to serve as a CAO for this district because in that time, when I was in the mayor's office, I had the privilege of serving in one of the capacities as the mayor's senior advisor for local government affairs. And at that time, I was able to work with council members like the council member you saw come up here. And I was able to watch the district attorney at that time when he was council president, not just in the legislation that he moved and the issues that he fought for, but I really watched him when nobody else was paying attention. And I watched how he paid attention to our elders and our leaders, and how he would actually come off the dais when they came into the council chambers to listen to them, to hear directly what they had to say, not treat them like everybody else that was there. And many times I watched Jason Williams come off of that dais, sometimes would go to the back of the council chambers and literally stoop down next to Mr. Smith to hear whatever issue or every concern he had. Why people elevated is because they're willing to humble themselves, and to our elders who have sacrificed so much for us. So today, Mr. Smith, Ms. Doty, and of course, Mr. Claude Reese, who is such, Judy is right, such a giant of humility. We are here to salute you. And on behalf of our District Attorney, Jason Williams, I would like to quickly read the New Orleans Freedom Riders put their lives on the line to challenge segregation. Unimaginably courageous and resolved to effectuate change, they faced scores of violent mobs, yet remained undeterred. The bloodshed they endured placed an international spotlight on the civil rights movement in the United States, and ultimately helped deliver one of the movement's greatest early victories. The perseverance gave hope to many. The terror that greeted them on their match for their righteous fortitude. And decades later, these acts of nonviolent civil disobedience continue to inspire young and old throughout the world. We should all be honored that our own elders, New Orleans Freedom Riders, were so instrumental in this most crucial movement. Their courage to act on their convictions and sacrifice for us all will be a lasting in mankind's struggle for freedom and equality. The fight for true equality and fair enforcement of the law, of course, continues today. We are still fighting to dismantle the vestiges of Jim Crow, and we all have a part to play. We must take the baton to advance on this leg of the race to freedom. You have my commitment as attorney to continue working from my post as our top prosecutor to correct the sins of the past. Thank you to the Freedom Riders for their incredible service. Your legacies will live on forever. This is signed by District Attorney Jason Rogers Williams.
Now we'll bring back and give the mic over to Judge Lombard. Well, maybe not. Let me give it back to Big Doug.
Some time ago, I was standing by Miss Fannie Lou Hamer. She asked me to come to the house in Roseville, Mississippi. And she wanted me to count the bullet holes in her door. Fannie Lou Hamer. And that moment of, and we visited Miss Hamer. She said, boy, your name, like they say that New Orleans boy, and blah, blah, blah. So I get to the house, say, from New Orleans, you sure? Say, why you so skinny? With all them good cooks down in New Orleans. So she said, you come and we gonna eat before we talk about the things we wanted you to do. There with me, his brother is the judge. And so she said, why he sitting in the car? Tell him bring himself in there. How you gonna beat New Orleans in my house? I said, Rudy, come on in here, man. So we get in the house. When both of us were standing there, she said, look, y'all can leave Ruleville, Mississippi. Y'all must stay here with me. And y'all names are all over the place. And this should be the last place to move. That's a tremendous honor. She wanted to keep us in Ruleville, Mississippi. Now, one of the things that I wish to share that's deep to me, I know she don't want me to do it. I wanted my granddaughter to come up to me and so I could say a little something. She's shy. She haven't seen me forever. And you know, sometimes folks congratulate me for the good, but I did not see her as a child. I was in many places when I called names that Malcolm sent for me. That meant for him to send for me, I must have been given time, created time in places. Marlon Lee Strasberg sent for me, but that meant I couldn't see them. I was in places that's not even documented. And I was trying to adhere to a finger in my chest when I was 10 years old in Sunday school, down in the night ward. Don't let anybody destroy the spirit of good in you. That's my Sunday school teacher. So when I sat back with people like Bobby Kennedy and them, it did not matter. My Sunday school teacher, don't let them destroy that spirit of good in you. And in many ways, in many things, I don't know, I would be shoved in places and meet all kinds of poison. I know this is a selfish moment in a small way, but there's another person, Morris Jeff. When I was a Mr. Jeff, when I was a boy in the grade school, a segregated school, and I was in the band in this elementary school, he would bring college students to practice with us. But it was not about the music. He brought them in, only 11 and 12 graders. And the reason was they would be talking about college. So when he would bring them in and they were speaking about college and coming with their uniform, I knew I was going to Southern University. And we should give Mr. Jeff a clap. Because he was the one that encouraged me to go to Southern. If I didn't go to Southern, then I wouldn't have been involved in this movement around it the way I am. I wouldn't have paid attention to Greensboro and those things there. Mr. Jeff was so crucial with us in these classes. Till this day, what I learned and spoke to Marlon Brando's teacher about, Lee Strasberg, and that black school with teachers, all black teachers taught me a language of thought that impacted Marlon Brando's teachers. Thank you.
Trust me, Jerome and I have been in this situation before, and we've handled this. We're going to move on anyway. But before what Jerome said, look at the walls, these people were deceased, and I need to correct you, Jerome, just one time. Dave Dennis is still living. Dave. I'm going to tell Dave you up there. So, this program also is about passing on the message from one generation to the other. We're going to have Ted Quinn bring us up our younger generation.
Hey, yes, Neil. Let's give him a hand. I have to tell you something about these kids. These kids can probably already march more than most folks march in their life. These kids march more than most folks in their life. Granddaddy was a civil rights fighter, Pat Bryant, and their daughter is a civil rights fighter, Neil, and the little drum snatchers, and I don't know their names, they civil rights fighters already. So, what's your name?
Leo.
What's your name?
Ayana.
What's your name?
Amani. Isis. Camden.
This generation wants to say thank you to that generation. So they have written letters. They have written letters to the Freedom Riders. And they have compiled it into a little book to give to each Freedom Rider while they tell them thank you. So Freedom Riders, let these children.
me about John Lewis was one of those kids who had to go work in the field? Also, let me just introduce Jeff. That's the daughter of Morris Jeff, who Jerome was just referring to, was a legend around here. I need to have two groups come up and say, yes, a panel of them. We need to have some spokesman from the Power Coalition and from the Vote group, the Go Vote group, to come up and say a few words.
Good afternoon. I'm Ashley Shelton. I'm the Executive Director of the Power Coalition for Equity and Justice. We did over 2.8 million voter contact attempts in 2020. Well, many of you in this room, and certainly with our anchor partner, Vote, Voice of the Experience. And so we went around this state and asked them, what is it that you want? What is it going to take for you to exercise your right to vote? And what was so exciting about last year was that 50% of every black voter in the state of Louisiana early voted. 50% registered black voter voted during early voting. And what I wanted to share with you today, that because of the work of the Freedom Riders and the legacy that they have been building, we are still winning because of so much of what they laid a path for us to be able to walk down. And part of those wins include when we just heard that the rest of the country, 400 bills to limit voter voice and voter rights all across this country. But in Louisiana, in the deep South, we went the other way. And so in Louisiana, the governor just signed a bill that actually extends early voting by 3 days for presidential elections. In Louisiana, the governor just signed a bill, ended an arcane rule where we only had 3 minutes in the voting booth. So now there's 6 minutes in the voting booth, so that you can actually take time to read these extents that we have and make good decisions about who you want to vote for and what these constitutional amendments and other things mean. And that was another win, voting rights in the state of Louisiana, and we were really proud to do that work. We're also excited about our Vote, who also, a couple of years ago, re-enfranchised formerly incarcerated folks. Over 70,000 folks. What they did this year, yes, it's amazing. What they did this year was they doubled down because it was a two-step process. And now they have worked with the legislature to streamline that so that now they can register to vote just like everyone else. These are huge wins in the Deep South for us to be able to move the needle on voting rights in the right direction and not have us going in the same direction as the rest of the country. And so we're really proud of that work. There is a lot of opportunity and work that still certainly needs to be done. We're really proud of that, and we're going to continue to fight, keep working. Power Coalition and other members of our coalition are already working and gearing up for municipal elections here in New Orleans, municipal elections in Alexandria, as well as a tax referendum that was put on the ballot to usurp the power of the Legislative Black Caucus. And so we're just proud to be here, proud to work with all of you to make our state a better place, to make it more equitable. And I also just want to give one quick shout out too about redistricting. The work is not done. So we have elected a president, done some things, but we have redistricting, and it is this powerful point that we have as citizens of this country to ensure that the voices of black and brown people are neutered through the process of drawing maps. And so I encourage you to get involved. There are many ways to get involved, to develop communities of interest and other things, but we just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts to the Freedom Riders to continue to be able to voting rights wins in the state of Louisiana. Thank you.
Your representative from Go Vote. If not, the next program, put on the program, we're going to move this on. It's that I'm supposed to introduce the speaker. Who's the speaker? Me. So, let me tell you a little bit about who I am. My name is Edmund Lombard, and actually Edmund A. Lombard, and Jerome said the A stands for. First of all, I'm the baby brother of Dr. Rudy Lombard, the late Dr. Rudy Lombard, who was the chairman of CORE. He was also the New Orleans CORE chapter. And there's the Lombard in the lawsuit, Lombard versus Louisiana, that integrated the lunch counters here in New Orleans. So I've been around Jerome and CORE members and Dottie and those people since I was 9, 10, 11 years old. And I learned a lot just being at the foot of those people and watching the struggle. That's why I say when people go out there and put their life on the line, it's nothing to take for granted. We never knew when Rudy was coming home. You never knew. We knew Rudy was in Philadelphia, Mississippi, but when you heard, you didn't have cell phones then, so when you heard 3 civil rights workers murdered, immediately panic sets in because you're hoping and so forth. So as a young child, I was inspired by 3 lawyers who represented most of the civil rights stuff in New Orleans, Collis, Douglas, and Eli. And I wanted to be a lawyer because of that. Well, as luck would have it, I got involved in my community and did a lot of stuff. And in 1963, 27 years old, 26 years old, the mayor of the city said it's time to elect an African American in New Orleans. It's a citywide spot. I was elected clerk of criminal district court at 27 years old. That sounds insignificant, clerk of criminal district court. You went to law school to be a clerk? But let me tell you one important role that office has in Louisiana. He's the chief elections officer for the city of New Orleans. For the first time in the history, I don't know if all the South, we had an African American running the election process. What does that mean? That's somebody to pay attention to things like polling site location, recruiting and retaining poll commissioners, training those poll commissioners, making sure that access to voting is available to all people, depending on, irregardless of what neighborhood, what economic strata you came from. Those little small decisions in the election makes a difference. It makes a difference that when you move a polling place, I had a law put in that if it was less than a week before the election, you had to hire a human being at the old poll to tell the voters where the new poll was. So there wouldn't be any problem with that stuff. So when you look at the situation of voting, I've been there. I've had the occasion to work elections in South Africa. I worked the local election. I did the Dayton Peace Accord in Bosnia, and I did Indonesia votes. Here to me, in terms of that kind of concept. And as far as the Freedom Riders are concerned, I've watched those people, and I'd be remiss if I didn't do something right now. If you just bear with me for a minute, this may be the first time in a long time these names were called up. I'm going to read the names of the Freedom Riders from the New Orleans and Louisiana. Julia Eric, Dave Dennis, Gene Thompson, Robert Heller, Margaret Leonard, Claude Liggins, Leo Washington, Nelson, Haley, Richard Stewart, Thomas Raymond, Sandra Nixon, Doretta Smith, Jerome Smith, Doris Castle, Isaac Reynolds, Shirley Thompson, Alice Thompson, Norman Liveson, Claude Reese, George Raymond, Alice Thomas, Thomas Valentine, Thomas P., George Raymond, Tisha Tate, Jay Thompson, in addition to that, from New Orleans, Freedom Fighters, Ernie Scott, Cecil Carter, Herbert Newman, Sidney Goldfish Jr., Aretha Castle, Don C. Hubbard, Mateo Suarez, who was in Philadelphia, Mississippi at the time of the murders, John Castle, Burton Castle, attorneys Colin Douglas and Eli, David Smothers, and who was Dr. Vincent Root. When the Freedom Riders had to break up and men trying to find a place, nobody wanted to take them in because they thought they were going to be bombed or there was going to be violence if you took a Freedom Rider in. Vincent Root, late Dr. Bill Lombard, convinced Norman Francis at Xavier University, and Norman Francis is still alive, will tell you this, to take the Freedom Riders in and put them at St. Michael's Hall, which is still on Xavier's campus. So let's give these people a round of applause. So we're not going to keep you long. We want to thank you for coming here. If you're interested in seeing more of the state, YouTube and there is a C-SPAN tape called The Freedom Riders of New Orleans. How do I know about it? Well, guess what? I got bored and decided to go back to college. I'm one of those babies who are young people that you could go straight to law school from college. So I went straight from undergrad school to law school, but I got bored. Decided to go back to get my undergrad. What course did they put me in? It was called the 60s. I had a teacher who was born in the 80s teaching me about the 60s. I school in 1960 and got out in 1970, so she had to watch everything she said. And we were talking about a book. It's called Coming of Age in Mississippi by Ann Moody. You need a good road reading. It's an autobiography of a young lady who was born in Mississippi and was involved in the civil rights movement. And in that book, she talks about Nat Suarez, Jerome Smith, Rudy Lombard. And my teacher, none of my classmates knew that I was a judge at the time. I just looked like the old dude in the class. You could tell I was old. I was the only one with a blue book. Everybody else had laptops. So she came up to me, she said, we want you all to do a term paper. You know, term paper, I'm 65, 66 years old. I'm kind of old for a term paper. So I talked her into a project. I said, you remember that book, Ann Moody? She said, yeah. I said, you remember all those people in that book? She said, suppose I go out and try to find them and let's do a panel discussion. She said, good luck. Well, she didn't know I had everybody on speed dial, right? So the result of that is a YouTube presentation, and it's on C-SPAN. It's called Freedom Riders of New Orleans. You should watch that, because for the first time, a lot of these people get to tell their stories who never told their story for various reasons. So watch it, and it's a powerful piece. Some of them are no longer with us. I think we've lost 2 of those panel members, at least, who've gone. But let me encourage you to watch that, and you'll understand the struggle. So thank you for coming to New Orleans. Enjoy yourself while you're here, but never forget to go. Because oftentimes, I wake up at night and ask myself the question. And the question is, did we win? The struggles of the 60s, are we right back where we started? But history repeats itself. Easter Sunday, 1873, Colfax, Louisiana. 150 Negroes murdered and liberal whites murdered because of voter suppression and the right to vote. Is this cyclical or it never goes away? Please understand the difference between overt and covert. Back in the 60s, it was overt because you had the white robes. And so we knew the enemy. We knew what the enemy looked like. And then we got a few victories. We got the civil rights bill. We got the vote. We became comfortable, okay with things. Meanwhile, the enemy went underground, changed the uniform, changed methodology, allowed us the street to see. And then historic election came, and that was enough of that. And out the woodwork that came. And the challenge before us is the same as the challenge was when the Freedom Riders rode the bus 60 years ago. You cannot put God down. You've got to understand this whole struggle. This is united. If you're in it for the short haul, you're in the wrong fight. Don't ever. So welcome to New Orleans, and Jerome, I got to say this, brother. And Jerome's one of the few, we go through this all the time. He's one called me at the last minute and say, this is what you're doing. In you, this is what you're doing. And I'll be remiss, because today would have been the birthday of one of Jerome's good friends. Would have been my mother. So yeah, so yes, it did. So we're gonna. Uh-oh. I know better than this. I know better than this. We're gonna almost wrap it up. The group I was looking for and didn't say the name correctly, please forgive me, Unite Here. Is someone from Unite Here?
Thank you, brother. Good morning. I said earlier, my name is Marlene Patrick Cooper, and I am the president of Unite Here Local 23. But first and foremost, I want to thank the co-founders of Black Voters Matter, LaTosha Brown and Cliff Albright, and allowing us to be part of this historic passing of the baton on this Freedom Ride. My local, we reside in 13 states. We represent predominantly black people of color, women, in poor working class neighborhoods. And the majority of them are in the, we represent workers right here in all the different industries, the hotels, in the convention center, in the airport, in the school cafeterias. So we know what it is to fight and struggle the South continuously, day in and day out. Last year, all of it. We all knew what was happening, that was going, but we fought back. We dug in and did everything that it was necessary and needed to lift our members up to that trying time. It didn't stop us. We had about 98% of our workers who are predominantly all in the hospitality industry that were laid off as a result of this COVID. Then we took back our country. We went to Georgia, Florida, Arizona, Philadelphia, the battleground states. We did what we do best, what we knew we had to do. We knew it was very important for us to change the former administration at that time. Because all of our members, we did have needs. We had everything on our back. And we knew it was very imperative for us to knock on doors, to canvass, to get out the vote, to do voter education, to partner with many organizations such as what we got in this room right here, right. So we know it is necessary for people of color. But like any that we fight with, we know when we win something, they try to take it back, which is what this is all about. We won, and they're trying to take it back. But one thing my mom always told me, you fall off of that horse, you get right back up on it. You keep getting back up on it. There's no such thing that you're going to fall and you're going to stay down. So we have to protect our freedom to vote. Look, my father, which many people don't realize, my father was a union member, so I'm a proud product of activism, of community, of civil rights. And I tell many folks, I said, look, my pathway to where I am, it happened in birth. It happened because of him, and it happened because of my mother, who was a nurse, and they taught me what it meant. And in connection of the civil rights standing right in this room here, and knowing that my local is putting so much resource and energy in organizing the South, very key, and it's very necessary. And one thing our president always says, if you do not organize the South is going to go north. And we knew it's doable, and that's what we started doing in this place here. And as I said earlier, we're not new to this. We're true to this. This is what we've always done. We're not new to this. We're true to this. And look, labor and civil rights have always walked the same path. Not have one without the other. It worked. As Mr. Smith, I mean, us Pat taking this baton that he has put in our hand, ability to continue carrying this on and not allowing that vote to be suppressed, not allowing that light to be snuffed out. So this torch, we're gonna carry. I promise you, we're gonna do everything that we have to do, that you have started, and we so much. So look, our foundation that we have, it was built on fighting how to do it, and workers have always had to fight to protect our right to vote, and we're going to rise up again. This moment that we're in right now, it was made for a time like this. It was made for a time like this, and we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that we honor all the work you and every last single freedom rider put in there. So thank you, appreciate you. So right now, I want to introduce you one of our top leaders, a member. She works in the casinos in Biloxi, Mississippi, Miss Christy Hunt. Come on up here, sister.
Thank you for the introduction. I am Christy Hunt from the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. I'm a proud Local 23 union member. I work at the Beau Rivage in guest services, been there about 3 years, and just like some of you, I was laid off during the pandemic. However, because of my union, I do have recall rights, which has given me a little bit of a peace of mind, but I'm just waiting to be recalled back. However, in Mississippi, I'm not sure if you're aware of the unemployment as of June 12th. It's been difficult, it's been trying, but still I fought on. It's actually because of Mr. Smith and the other freedom riders able to partake in various political things with my union. My grandmother, who passed in December of 2020, she was a big believer in using your voice, make yourself heard, talk to people, and my voice was being able to get out and vote and making other people aware of how powerful that is. So I actually did phone banking for the Oliver Gilbert campaign in my. I also did phone banking for the primary election for Mr. Smith, and all the brave, empowering freedom riders. They empowered me to actually go to Georgia and knock on doors to let them know that although this is one state, you're going to impact the entire country. And it was scary, it was nerve-wracking, it was so cold. The wind is respectful in Atlanta in January and December. But it was also inspiring, and it was, I'm gonna be honest, moving, because I was having conversations with someone on TV, but like person, someone's grandma, someone's granddad, someone that was also laid up like me, and they were struggling. And I wanted them to understand that I came all the way from Mississippi in a pandemic, unsure what I was coming to make sure that they understood how important it was trying to organize, rides, trying to make them aware of early voting, because what they do is they give you misinformation. They want you ignorant. They don't want you to be informed or educated. They want you to be scared. And that's not what we're going to do. We're going to be empowered. We're going to step up. Your voice is your vote. Make it heard. Especially being a black woman from Mississippi in the South, they always try to silence you or tell you, you're too loud, or go sit down, and it's not the appropriate time. Yes, it is. Make your voice heard.
Ted, where are you? And I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce one of the other guys who called me the night before last, Vincent Salvan. And somebody asked, why do they call you judge? I looked at Vincent. It's because Vincent was my campaign manager 18 and a half years ago when I ran for Court of Appeal. I'm a Court of Appeal judge here in New Orleans. Thank you. Ted?
Let's give Judge Lumbar a hand. He got called up and told he gonna do this and he gonna do that, and every five, he said, well, what about this? We don't know yet. We don't know yet. So I said, look, it's gonna be like jazz, we improvise. So we gotta now listen, we're ready to wrap up, but with the National Council of Negro Women, Is there a representative to say something? And then after that, I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, the second line band gonna come in here, and we're gonna second line around, then we're gonna go outside, and then we're gonna form a circle to do libations to the ancestors and those not here, and release the balloons. And that's how, maybe Latasha will say something in between that. So, I'm getting my directions right now.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Good evening. Good afternoon.
What you want? What you want?
No, I want to say, first of all, thanks Cliff and Latasha for bringing Black Voters Matter here and throughout all the states. First, greetings on behalf of B. Cole, my national president, National Council of Negro Women, Dr. Our Janice is our executive director, and I am a native daughter of New Orleans. Miss Jeff was one of my teachers, McDonough 35. I'm a product of St. Peter Pledge, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, right at University of New Orleans. So I am home. I need you guys to understand the legacy has to continue. We have to remember that we have to fight that, because if not us, then who? And there's a reason why these rights are under attack. And it's from the education system. It's from the 1619 Project. It's from everything from bringing a bottle of water into a polling station. Every facet exists in laws that need to be changed. So we need to make sure that we show up, we show out, but we mobilize, we bring folks with us. If you cannot ride, you text. So text to 797979, Freedom Ride. Please do that if you have not done so. But we have work to do. Please use your social media, and please remember, join your different groups. We have so many different groups here that we coexist, we need to partner with. But I'm gonna let Cliff go ahead and take it home. And I just want to let New Orleans, I'm still here. I have a home here. We're fighting in Florida, so I'm with the Black Caucus in Florida fighting. So we're going to go wherever we have to go, but just don't give up the fight.
We doing the second line, or?
I was told that maybe y'all wanted to say one more thing. We're gonna have a second line. Are they coming in here, the band, or are we going out there? Okay, the band can come take us on the second line. We're gonna second line around, and we're gonna go outside. And then when the band stops, I want us to form a circle to do a libation to the ancestors and those not here, and we will release the balloons to them, and that's how we go in. Everybody good? Let me hear you say amen. All right.
Y'all ready to go? Y'all fired up? We fired up? Fired up? All right, you gotta be fired up. You gotta get ready for a second line now. You can't come, huh? They covered all this? Yeah, we gotta get that second line energy. So let's go.
All right, family, here's how everybody head outside, and when you make a right outside the door, you're gonna be handed a balloon. We're gonna walk on outside and dance by the buses. So I'm gonna ask everybody to join us outside. Don't forget there are food trucks outside. Yes, I said food. Food is outside. I don't know nothing better than the combination of food and music.
Treme Community Center. So we always acknowledge our elders. And in doing so, I'm going to pour up the names. I first acknowledge those who came on those ships who were packed layers and layers and layers. But those who survived are the reason that we are here today. Amen. In the spirit of our ancestors, I say, Ashe. In the spirit of those teenagers who put their lives on the line. Jerome, Dodie Simmons, Matt Suarez, Claude Reese, Aretha Castle Haley, Rudy Lombard. So many of them say Ashe. And what I need you to do is to call out the names of your ancestors that paved the way for you, who shoulders you stand on today.
George Blunt.
Samuel L.
Ashe. Lou Mays. Ashe. Call them out loud. Miss Mays. Ashe. Malcolm X. Ashe. Martin Luther King. Ashe. Marcus Garvey. Ashe. Harriet Tubman. Ashe. Anyone else? Ashe. And for those who are yet to be born, who are depending on us to get it right.
That's right.
To make sure that they never have to cross the same bridge that we've crossing over. Even as of this day, and with our own people in position to do better. The spirit and the souls of those who are yet to be born, I say Ashe. 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 And as Dr. Morris F.X. Jeffries taught us, Harambe 7 times. We say it 6 times because we're pulling together. And on that 7th time, you say it with everything in you. And as loud as you can to let the world, let the universe know. We are pulling together. Let's go. Harambe! 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 Wow.
Thank you very much. We're going to hear from co-founder Phil Albright really quickly, and then we're going to release a balloon.
No, whoa, 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 whoa. It's all right, it's all right. It's not gonna be long, just real quick. In the spirit of Harambe, and in the spirit of pulling together, and even in the spirit of the libations and giving seed and giving tribute, we want to pull together and we want to give tribute to this facility by seeding into it a donation of $5,000. So they can continue the incredible work that it's doing of holding up our culture and our struggle. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, ready? Y'all ready now? Y'all got about 2 balloons left.
It's all good.
I'm good.
There they go, they gone, huh?
We out here trying to get folks to vote. We here for it.